Bernie at the bar. Bernie, we're doing this remotely because guess what? You can't interview yourself. And so tis I, Woodzik, Vintage's marketing manager, interviewing you for this episode. Hey, Bernie, I have a trivia question for you.
Oh,
Do you
back it.
know, in terms of all the books that have ever been sold worldwide ever, do you know what the top three titles are?
Top three titles. Uh, well, my first guess would be the Bible.
Yep, that's correct. Bible is number one.
All right. All
And
right.
the next two are actually authors, considering their
Oh,
entire body of work. Who do you think number two might be?
well, I have a guess of where we're headed with this based on why we're doing this interview, but I'm not sure. My guess is that it's either two or three. So, and then what would be the other one? Um, I, I give up. I got the Bible, so I'm good. I'm good with
You're
that.
good. You got number one. Bless you, my son. Two is Shakespeare.
Ah, yes.
Folks can kind of probably guess this, but the thing that I think folks may not know, which obviously ties into why we're talking today, is that
Yeah.
Agatha Christie is number three. So Bible, Shakespeare, Agatha Christie. She has sold billions of titles of her works over her 60-year-long career as a writer. So, Murder on the Orient Express, the adaptation by Ken Ludwig, is coming up right around the corner. You're directing it. First question I want to ask you is what has your relationship been with Agatha Christie over the years?
Yeah, it's a I am a member, a lifelong member of the Agatha Christie fan club. It has ever since I discovered her in, I think, junior high, when we were assigned to read the book And Then There Were None, which still remains to this day my favorite story, my favorite book. There's half a
Same.
dozen, right, say, right? Um, because it's just so ingenious. It's so ingenious. And I got to direct the play for Spotlight Theater back in 2000 something. I don't remember the year. So I've seen the movies, the television adaptations. I've directed the play. So and this has been an ongoing relationship, right? I've read at least half of the books, if not more. I've seen almost all of the television programs. It's amazing to me that Agatha Christie passed away in the mid 1970s, right? So we're talking 50 years ago. And just last year, right, Kenneth Branagh came out with his third Agatha Christie movie, which
Right.
is incredible that we're still that her popularity has not waned at all. And it's felt that way for me. Her popularity has not waned at all for me and my lifelong membership to the Agatha Christie fan club.
That's fantastic. I'll just share before we go on to our next question. I got to see and there were none on the West End during a trip. And
Yeah.
so I did stand by and I got a ticket in the front row and I was
Oh,
this is incredible.
yeah.
And uh the reason that there is a ticket available in the front row is that when the first person dies in this adaptation, the way
Yeah.
that they had rigged it was that he dies and there was a button under the table so
Yeah.
that um vomit came out, fake vomit came out of the table. The
Yeah.
piece landed on my shoe. And so that's why the ticket was available. So there's a
It's
little bit of Agatha Christie from the trenches trivia for you. I want to move on now and talk about this is an incredible cast that you've put together and just a little bit behind the scenes of social media. The cast announcement alone organically reached
yeah.
over 4,000 people on Facebook and Instagram combined. That's how excited folks were when this cast was announced. Can you talk me through this? I would really call it a Denver all-star cast that you have put together for this production.
It's an all-star ensemble is what I would call it because this is really an ensemble piece. And of course, our detective, Monsieur Hercule Poirot, leads this ensemble. But when you look at this cast, it's just an all-star basketball game or something. Not that I know anything about sports. I don't know what I'm talking about. But let me tell you and the folks at home who's in this show. We've got Josh Levy, who is playing Monsieur Poirot. We've got Alistair Bassey, who's playing Monsieur Book, who is the manager of the Wagon Lead, the train. Bobby Renee Lewis, who's playing Mary. We have Miss Deborah Persoff playing the Princess Dragomirov. Evan Marquez playing Colonel Arbuthnot. Uh, we have Haley Johnson making her return to the stage after a 5-year absence, and I feel very lucky to be working with her. We have a long, long history of collaborating, and I just love her. So I'm just so pleased that she's in this show, playing Helen Hubbard, the American. Luke Fish is playing Mr. McQueen. Um, Molly Turner is playing Greta Olson. Stephanie Saltis is playing the Countess Andrenier. Terrence Keane playing Mr. Ratchet, Tim Intavong playing the head waiter, and Todd Black playing Michel, the train conductor.
I just got chills.
Me too. And I've been spending the last 6 weeks with these folks. I know they're in the show, but still gives me chills.
So folks may have seen Josh at Aurora Fox. I know in the
Yes,
blog post that he wrote, he was there
yes.
recently. He's going to be performing there again as part of their season. I believe that he was Sharon. Uh, what has been the approach working with him on such an iconic character?
You know, Josh is one of those special actors that puts 200% of himself into a role. Kind of just throws everything into it and will take risks and try different choices and okay, let's play with this and see how it works on stage and how do we define this relationship with this suspect or that suspect and um, he's he's just fearless. He's willing to try anything, even if it sounds crazy. Um, he is so giving on stage to his fellow actors. And that's really what you want in an ensemble. And the great thing is we have that with our whole cast, right? When the cast is all giving to each other on stage, the chemistry is just unbeatable. And again, gives you chills to watch it because they're so connected, even though their relationships are not always happy ones, right? But they're still connected anyway. I mean, somebody does get murdered on this train, so um,
What?
no.
Bernie? Spoiler! No, it's in the title. I also want to shout out the grande dame of Denver
Yes,
theater, Miss Deb Persoff, who
yes.
not only playing a fantastic role in Murder on the Orient Express, but for
Mhm.
1 week in October, not
Yeah,
only will she be part of that ensemble, but she'll also be playing Eleanor Roosevelt in the
right.
cabaret space.
Yes.
That is a feat that few actors could pull off.
Two
And
very, very different
yeah,
shows, right? Playing, being a part of this magnificent ensemble in Orient Express, and then doing a one-woman show about Eleanor Roosevelt. So that week, the week of the October, what, 13th, she will be doing 6 performances total, 3 of each show, with one day off.
so that to me is like our Barbenheimer, right?
Right.
And so if folks
That's right.
that week, it would be very awesome and excellent to get a ticket to see Deb in both in 1 week. And
Right?
bring her a card and some flowers. That would be lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I
Some
if I were
chocolate
in
or
the area, that's what I would be doing. I would be
right?
bringing her a bouquet.
So you
And
could
then,
see you
yeah,
could see Orient Express on Sunday and Eleanor on Monday, or Eleanor on Thursday and Orient Express on Friday.
do it, y'all.
Incredible.
Get those tickets.
Yeah.
Before we leave our cast, I also want to shout out you talked a little bit about Haley's return to
Mm,
the stage. One of the things I love most about my job is the blog posts that we get from our cast members.
mm,
And you just see this, especially for Haley returning to the stage, this outpouring of love for folks who have really missed her. And I didn't totally know the scope of how far back her relationship with Vintage went and how many productions she's done with us.
You know, so many. I mean, going back to before we were at our Aurora location, right? Going all the way back to our Vine Street location where she did shows like Angels in America, A Streetcar Named Desire, just simply amazing, amazing work.
Ugh, it gives me chills. And like I said, I will be clapping all the way from northern Wisconsin for her
Thank you.
return. I want to now move to this script. This is an adaptation
Mhm.
by Ken Ludwig. I was
Yes.
one of the very lucky few to see Jeff Kent direct this at Arvada Center with Kevin Rich as Monsieur Poirot. Talk a little bit about this. What I love about the script is I feel like it not only captures the characterizations that Agatha Christie has in the novel, but I also feel it really captures the tempo of an Agatha Christie piece. So please talk more about the script.
Yes, and first of all, though, speaking of that Arvada Center production, I had tickets to it. But of course, that was March of 2020, and we all know what happened then. And I was just crushed. Because I was so excited to see that show. So I'm really glad to hear that you got to see it and how. And I knew it would be amazing, and of course, it was amazing.
Yeah.
So Ken Ludwig was engaged by the Agatha Christie estate to create this stage adaptation of Murder on the Orient Express. And the beautiful thing about it is that, Ken Ludwig has primarily been a comedic playwright, right? He does have some more dramatic works, but it's mostly been comedy. So at first, to hear his name attached to this show, I thought, is he going to turn this into like a door slamming train farce, or what? What are we going to get? And what's really wonderful is that you have those brilliant comedic touches in the show that Ken Ludwig has brought that just kind of lift the energy for a moment, and then we get back into the mystery. And the thing that you say about tempo is so, so true. Ever since the first rehearsal, when we were just reading the script, I thought to myself, boy, this script really it's got this movement to it, very much like a train, like the 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 kind of energy of the takeoff, and then we get rolling, and then things happen, and then blam, we hit the snowbank, train stops.
Yeah.
And he just keeps it moving so, so well.
I can't wait for our audiences to experience this.
Oh, it'll be very exciting.
So let's talk numbers, Bernie.
Oh,
This
sure.
marks the 152nd show that you have acted in or
That is
directed.
correct.
Congratulations.
You?
This is a question that you ask of many of your guests on Bernie at the Bar, but how would you characterize your directing style?
I think it would be fun to ask actors who I have worked with how they answer this question. So there's a future podcast in this for you to find out. Um, the way I look at it, and of course it's changed over the past 20 years, but what I like to do is get the show on its feet really quickly. So we do what we call blocking, which is where I tell the actors where to go, where to enter, move left, move right, hand that person the corn dog, whatever it is. Um, and we do that the whole script. So I blocked this show in three, maybe four rehearsals, like very, very fast, right? And that just gives us this kind of roadmap. Okay, we have places to move. Now we can start to play with relationships. Now we can start to play with tempo as the actors learn their lines and get off book from their scripts. They are more able to engage with the other characters, more listening, more focus, more energy, more tempo. Um, and then it's a triangle effect, right? We start up with this kind of broad foundation. All right, we're going to block the show. It's still, and it's not like they have to keep those movements precisely as we have set them, right? The blocking changes as actors discover more about their characters. I should be closer to this person and further away from that person because of how I'm feeling in this moment. So the blocking, that all changes. It morphs into this what I like to think of as a collaborative process, and I hope other people agree, of the actors bringing their 100% to the stage, right? And I like to say that the actors, it's not like as a director, I'm giving the actors notes and, I mean, yes, I do that, but I feel like the actors, those notes are just based on everything the actors are bringing to it. Like I'm just refining what they're doing. So that was a long answer, but I think that that might sum it up.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I think it was very well said. And it reminds me of folks who talk about directing like making a sculpture where the thing is
Play
there,
the pieces that aren't needed,
right?
right?
I'm just
Yes,
refining what the
yes.
actor is bringing to the table. And that's the way I like to work as a director. And I think that's the way my favorite directors work because it starts with the assumption of the cast is talented and unique and bringing themselves to the table, and then I can show up and be the mirror and help refine so they're able to give their best performance. So
Yeah, I can tell you that, as you're chipping away those pieces, you hope for a work of art at the end. And I mean, it's always a work of something, and sometimes it's successful, and sometimes your sculpture has four arms and four eyeballs, and or who knows what.
hey,
So having
Bertie, we're not talking about She Kills Monsters yet.
in a minute.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, no, having directed this many shows, some of them are great successes and others are great, great, wonderful flops.
It's I appreciate you saying that because one of the things I feel like I didn't really learn for myself until my mid mid 30s is that you have to give yourself permission to learn, and part of learning is making mistakes. And so to expect that everything theatrically is going to be the same every time, that's
Yes,
not what theater is about. Theater is about exploring our collective humanity and that liveness. I think about the book Utopia in Performance, which I had to read in undergrad, and the idea of this is one of the only spaces where we come together in the dark, and it is a temporary community, and that exact community is never going to come together again. And
not in
then
that way, right? Yeah.
right, and then we leave and we go about our lives, and hopefully we're better for it. And that's why I love theater.
Well, and what I have found is as soon as you cut off conversation, you cut off circulation. That's just that's just a fact.
Facts are facts, Bernie. I have one more question to ask you, and
Yes.
that is, what is coming up next at Vintage Theater?
I thought this summer was busy. We had I don't what felt like 100 things going on this summer, but this fall might be even busier and just very, very exciting. So first of all, our world premiere of Della Douce um, is being extended, right? The tickets are flying off the shelves or off the web shelves, I guess. So we have we have extended that show by one weekend. So that's going to play through the final weekend in September. And then the very next thing is the first weekend in October, we have She Kills Monsters auditions, which are, I think, already half full. Like,
More
we're
than
just,
half full. More than half full within 3 days of posting it. So
yeah,
folks should get on
amazing.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that is a show that actors are very, very excited about. And I'm so happy that we are co-producing that show with Insight Collab. Um, so that's the beginning, first weekend in October. And then the 14th of October, well, let's back up. Orient Express opens next Friday, the 20th. I don't want to forget that one. And then the 14th of October, Deb Perstoff returns in an encore performance of Eleanor, which I'm so excited. I've seen it twice now. I can't wait to see her do this again. And that's going to run for 3 weeks with the final performance on Election Eve.
Oh my goodness.
This
That
is
could be a very, very exciting night. And could you just quickly shout out our director for Eleanor, Bernie?
Oh, absolutely. Christine Kahane, who has done just a marvelous job with that show. And, directing a one-person show is sometimes easy, but more often it's difficult, right? There's no one else on stage for them to engage with. So the audience becomes that scene partner for that one person show. And Christine is just masterful at creating that relationship between the actor and the audience. So kudos, kudos, shout out to Christine. Love her. And then Murderers, which I am so excited to bring back. We're going to have Murder on the Orient Express and Murderers. Murderers will be opening in the small theater, in the Bon Tremble Theater, October 17th, 18th.
I believe it's 18th because it's my mom's birthday.
Okay, I think it's the 18th because it's your mom's birthday. So that is a show that we had tried to put together in 2020. October of 2020. And it got to play for three performances before the COVID numbers kind of went up. And at that time, if the numbers were over, I think 5 or 6%, we wouldn't let anyone into the building. So we had to shut it down. And I thought, well, we have this opportunity to bring this back and give these actors, we've got the same actors as we did in 2020, which is
Let's
amazing.
let's shout out the cast. So
Let's
Troy
shout out the
Lakey,
cast.
yeah.
So, in order of appearance in the show, we have Troy Lakey, who plays Gerald. And Troy's been a Vintage family member for a long, long time. And then we have Mary Campbell, who plays Lucy. And she's just a wonderful actor to work with, and the audiences will just be so delighted by her. And then we have one of my favorite people, Mari Gieser, who plays Minka, and she's in the final monologue. And Mari and I go back, we go back 20 years as well, and working with her across 2 decades of time and how our relationship has changed, our artistic collaboration, and who she is as an artist. So I'm really, really excited to get to work on that again with her. So that opens October 18th, and that just takes us through, next month.
Lots of good things going on. And as always, folks can go to vintagetheater.org to buy tickets, get more information, and for a little bit more fun and positivity, you can also find us on Facebook and you can find us on Instagram. And please, when you come to see any of these shows, tag us, tag our social accounts so we can share on our Instagram stories. We love to see your experiences of being at Vintage. So, Bernie, thank you for this
Ah,
plot twist of being a
thank you.
guest on your show. And
Thank you.
come see Murder on the Orient Express, everyone.
Come see it. Come see it. Say hi.